शिव जय जय गोरा चांदेर हरति को शोभा जय जय देवा जायो गोरा चांदे हरति को शोभा जायो गोरा चांदे जानवी तटवन जगा मनलो भावी तट देवा दक्षिण ताई वामे गदाधर निकटे अद्वैत चिने हत छत्रधार देवा भक्ति अचय गोराचा रत्न सिंहासने भक्ति अचय गोरा हरि बोल हरि बोल आरती करे न ब्रह्मा आदि देवगणे देवा नारा हरे आदि करे तमार ढुलाया नारा हरे आदि संजया मुकुंद बसु खोचादि गाया देवा शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे गुरुतार शंको हो माधुरा मृदंगा बजे पराम रसाला माधुरा मधुर माधुर माधुरा बजे मधुर माधुर 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 मधुर बजे बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे बोल 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 शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शिव बहु कोटि चंद्र छिने वदन उज्ज्वल बहु कोटि चंद्र गलादेशेर वनमाला करे झलमाला ताई गौर हरि शिवा शिवा शुकनारदा हेमे गद गदा शिवा शुकना कुर्भाकति विनोदा देखे मुरार संपदा शिवा जायो जया गोरा चांदे आदाति को शोभा जायो जाना विकटवने जगा जाना माना लोभा गौरांगेरा रते कशोभा जग जाना माना लोभा बोला गौरांगेरा रते कशोभा जग जाना माना लोभा गौरा गौरांगेरा रते के शोभा जगा जाना माना लोभा जगा जाना माना लोभा जगा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त सारे इति नामिने नमः श्रीमते नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पचतो देश तारिणे नमस्ते प्रभुपाद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण हरि बोल जीव जागो ओ नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Nitai Nitai Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Hey Haribol Haribol Jinjagon Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 सब गाइए हर बोल स्टैंड एवरीवन बोलो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 बोला हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 बोला हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Bolo Radha Raman Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Bolo Radha Raman Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Bola Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Bolo Radha Raman Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Bolo Radha Raman Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Bolo Radha Raman Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Bola Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare बोलो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे बोलो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेव सुभद्रा जय बलदेव जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे बोला हरे कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 बोला हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 जय नित्य गौर सुंदर जय नित्य गौर सुंदर जय नित्य गौर सुंदर जय राधा माधव राधे राधे जय राधा माधव जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Oh, Jai Dhwani Bolo.
Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitya Leela Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribhakachara Stodatara Sata Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitya Leela Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribhakachara Stodatara Sata Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaja Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pravishna Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribhakachara Astodatara Sata Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace, Seventh Goswami, Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Leela Pravishna Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribhakachara Astodatara Sata Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. All glory to Sixth Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami Ki Jai, Ananta Kukuti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Shekhar Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudha Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giva Govardhani Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. All glories to Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Nitai God Ki Jai. All glories to Lord Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. Iskam Bhattama Dham Ki Jai. All glories to the semi devotees. All glories to the semi devotees. All glories to semi devotees. All glories to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Disappearance Mahosa Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go to Premanande. Namaste Nara Shringhaya. Palada Lana Dayane Hiranya Kashipu Bhakshaha Shilatam Kalakayane Ito Nikshingho Parato Nikshingho Yato yato yamita to Nikshingho Bahir Nikshingho Hiraye Nikshingho Nishing Namarim Saranam Prapadaya Tava tava kamla bare nakam Abhuta Shringam Dalitaya Ranya Kashiputanu Bringam Keshava Rita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavatama Kamala Varena Kam Puta Shringam Dalitaya Ranya Kashi Putanu Bringam Keshava Drita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nashringa De Jaya Nashringa De Jaya Nashringa De Jaya Nashringa De Jaya Palad Maharaj Jaya Palad Maharaj Palad Maharaj Jaya Palad Maharaj Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we welcome everyone to Unique Clinic Ramdam, Baltimore, the abode of Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jagannath Bali Subhadramai, and Shri Shri Radha Madhav. Hari Bol. First, like thank you all the pujaris for dressing deities so nicely. You can loud Hari Bol for them, please. Today's prasadam cooking is done by Bhanuja Mataji and Haripriya Mataji and a team. So loud Hari Bol for them, please. We have two sponsors. One of dear congregation member, Himangi Mataji, she lost her brother a few days back, Suryakant Prabhu, in India. So she's sponsoring for remembrance of the soul which has passed away. But we know that in Vaishnava culture, any devotee, even one person becomes a devotee, then the whole family gets delivered. So of course, they're in the right place. But as a devotees, we are very merciful and we'll be facing deities and chanting 3 times in memory of departed soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next sponsor is giving great pleasure to announce. It's the family, Shyam Bhaktima Premdham Prabhu is sponsoring for their son Keshav's birthday. Where is Keshav hiding? What are we saying? Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to Keshav. Hare Krishna to you. Haribo. You know, our community is so beautiful and loving. And when we see these small kids growing up, like I think saw Keshav some time back, small, and is growing up faster day by day. Next time we'll be like right here and we'll talking like that. So it's nice to see when the devotees are getting Krishna conscious and advancing further. That's the ultimate thing for parents also, that, and the temple also, that when the devotees, the second generation, third generation, stays connected in Krishna consciousness and get this bhakti. So wonderful to see such an diversity. Kudos to the parents for that one. Before we go to the speaker, I just want to introduce, there's a very dear friend of mine. He's here. I'm very fortunate. His name is Shambhu Prabhu. He's hiding right there. Shambhu Prabhu, I think many people know him, but he's one of the most amazing devotees I've known over my life. He's a senior disciple of Sri Prabhupada. And his desire, he was telling me, it was just amazed at how Krishna's mercy followed devotees. He was telling a story that in Washington, D.C., he grew up, and there was there's a street there, and out of that, 8 to 10 people became devotees. And to this day, they're still devotees, basically. One person came, his name is Balaka Prabhu, he's not here in this world, but he's in Golok Vrindavan. He came and preached, and he was telling me that, we were high on marijuana that time, 15, 16 years old, and when they're talking to us, we didn't care. But as the purity of a devotee comes through, it changed the whole world. And I'm fortunate to know Prabhu and all the, at least 3 or 4 devotees, others who have been still in Krishna consciousness, and they're advancing so much. So much that Prabhu now, towards his later part of his life, he's moved to India. Then he's going to be just preaching there and spread Krishna consciousness there. And he's written a very beautiful book. So I think, Prabhu, can you come 2 minutes and tell about this, just brief introduction of the book? It's a very wonderful book, I think, but don't be shy. Come here. Loud Haribol for Prabhu, please. Haribol. He doesn't take any accolades. He's very humble. So that's an advancement devotee. So you want to tell about this book? Because I was just mesmerized. The book is here now, and when I read the book, it was just amazing. So please tell a few things about the book.
Actually, I talked about it before it was printed. Remember?
Yes. But these are new people here.
Before I went to India, this journey started in March. Actually, I didn't plan this project. It was not my plan. I was already content doing my program in Washington. But you know, when the pandemic started, that was in March of 2020. And at that time, 15 years ago, no, 35 years ago, one Guru Bhai did my astrology chart. So in the chart, it said that when I enter Ketu period, then huge changes was going to go by. But I remember because when I was 15, no, when I was in my 20s, I read this chart, and I saw that being a long time away. And so when the pandemic hit and the K2 period hit, all those changes started happening in my life. And Prabhupada always showed me, you stay the course. And of course, we all have, in our lives, we have events where Krishna's always showing you how to stay focused and stay the course. But he never interferes with the choice, because love is voluntary. So I either could go one route or take this route. And so what happened was I was doing this research, because what happened every year for the last 20 years, we would study Prabhupada's books in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was very impressed with the verses in the 5th canto that explain Bhadata Bhumite Holya Manusha Jama Jada Jama Sataka Kari Pada Upakara. All those souls who took birth in Bharatvarsha are so fortunate. They're so fortunate because they have a chance to finish this lifetime and go back to the spiritual world. And it's also understood that because of that, Prabhupada always said that 50%, every one of you, 50% have already made it. And all you got to do is do the other 50% and not come back. Even the demigods wish to come take birth in Bharatvarsha because it's so easy to go back home. So what I did was take all this information up and put it together as, of course it was just scratching the surface of what Prabhupada spoke about on that subject matter. And being a musician, I wanted to stay on point, because usually, like when the songwriters, the title of a song generally is what the subject matter of the song is about. So I stayed in that same mindset with the book, and it's all everyone who's taken birth as a human being in this, as a human being in India, this is the duty. And so Prabhupada gave everything in that book about what people who take birth in Bharatvarsha. Of course, Bharatvarsha also is in the bigger sphere, talks about the planet Earth. So at first, because I didn't have any experience as far as putting a book together, because I'm a songwriter, not a book writer, but being inspired to do that on Prabhupada's inspiration, I did that. But the book publisher, they always want you to put the author on it. So I followed the instructions because I didn't know I followed it. But when I went to India this trip, I got so many realizations. And so on the back of the book was my bio. So I took the bio off and put some quotes from Prabhupada in the book and replaced it. And the impact was really impressive. So I just want to share that this information, Prabhupada's book, is all him. It's not even me. It's just Prabhupada. And if anybody takes it and read this information, they could see how fortunate they are and taking advantage of the information by taking birth in Bharata Bhumi. Because every one of you are very fortunate and just need to do that other 50%, and then you'll go back home, back to Godhead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Other thing which Prabhu was telling me, I just want to share the last thing. When he was with Prabhupada in Mayapur, and he was a young 16, 17-year-old. So Prabhupada saw him, he was standing in the back, and Prabhupada started talking to him in Bengali. So he was like dumbfounded because he doesn't know Bengali. So the other person was saying, Prabhupada, he doesn't know Bengali. He said he was Bengali in his last life. And then he's come here now to finish his little leftover thing, so his small thing. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming here. I think Tuesday he'll be going back, and hopefully like 3-4 years, he will come visit us again. But most his time is now going to spend in India to spread this Krishna consciousness.
Also, you can tell them the books online.
Yes, Amazon book is there, yes. So thank you, Prabhuji. So now we'll request a speaker today, Aryan, will be speaking to for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day today. It's a very fortunate that we had Pushpanjali in Aarti, and it's just a wonderful time to just experience the great Saraswati Thakur, the great one who instructed Sri Prabhupada to come here and change all our lives. Without him, without his instruction of Prabhupada, we wouldn't be here. We would be just lost in some Hindu temples looking for a way of life. So thank you so much, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada. We appreciate that. Okay.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jai Gopi Janavalabha Girivara Dhari Jai Gopi Janavalabha यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय सच्चिदानंद जय गौर हरि सच्चिदानंद जय गौर हरि जय सच्चिदानंद जय गौर हरि जय भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभु जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव अनिताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि अगनिताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य लीलविष्णु ओम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की नित्य लीलविष्णु ओम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर जगत गुरु प्रभुपाद की शुभ तिरुभाव तिथि महामहोत्सव की जय गौर ब्रह्मानंदे हरि बोल। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। आजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वं नय मां चरणन्तिके। भक्त्या विहीनामपराधलक्षये क्षिप्तश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्नं वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Jai Gaur Brahmanande. First of all, I offer my Shashtanga Koti Koti Dandavat Pranams to my most worshipable Gurupada Padma. Then I offer my Dandavat Pranams to Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtotra Sita Shri Srimad Abhay Chanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Then on his most worshipable Tirubhav Titi, I offer my Shashtanga Koti Koti Dandavat Pranams to Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siranda Saraswati Thakur Jagat Guru Prabhupada, and to the entire Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present, please accept my Dandavat Pranams. So today is the Tithi of the 85th Tirubhav of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. It is said that the Avirbhav and Tirubhav of Vaishnavas are all very important, but of the two, the Tirubhav is the most important, because when a Vaishnava appears in this world, his glories are not fully manifest. When he leaves this planet, then we see that all his glories are manifest. Like for example, with our Prabhupada, he appeared on Nandotsav the day after Janmashtami, but all of his glories wasn't fully manifest. He didn't come to the West to preach. He didn't meet his divine master when he appeared. But when he left, such a mark he left in this world. He left this temple. He came here in 76. He came to the old temple in 76. And he established 108 temples. Now, if he wasn't here, if he didn't appear, then none of that would happen, and what would happen to us? But even higher than that, if Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada had not come, then our Prabhupada would not have come. Because this is the parampara, this is the lineage. From guru to guru, they pass down this divya gyan, this transcendental knowledge of Krishna bhakti, of Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada has explained. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, who was he? Who is he? Actually, we say is for Vaishnavas, because through their words, they're still living. Forever they live. We have Vani and Vapu. We have their Vani, which is their knowledge and their words. Then we have their Vapu, which is their body. So Vani Seva is very, very important. Vapu Seva is also important, but Vani Seva is the highest, because we are serving their words. It doesn't please Guru and Krishna more than when we serve their mission. We can serve their body as much as we want, but unless we are serving their words with utmost attention and desire that we wish to propagate this mission forward, then only then will they give us mercy if we follow their words. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he is the Guru of our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who came and established this ISKCON society. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is also the founder of the Gaudiya Math. Out of all the 64 Maths that he established, the first Math is called the Akara Math Raj, which means the king of all Maths. That is Sri Chaitanya Math in Antardip, Mayapur. This is actually where his Samadhi Mandir is. If we go to Mayapur, we see Samadhi Mandirs there, and just opposite is the main temple of Sri Chaitanya Math. So we say Prabhupada, but what does Prabhupada actually mean, right? We should understand this. But when disciples give the Guru this title of Prabhupada, of various identifications or titles, they understand that this is the meaning. So Prabhupada, Prabhu means Lord or Master. Pad means feet. So Prabhupada is a word to glorify the Lord's feet, who the Vaishnavas are always serving. So it's one of the highest glorifications that we can give to a Vaishnav, because that means they're eternally serving the lotus feet of Krishna. Another meaning is that one who is fully surrendered for spreading the loving message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu came, and actually his identity, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada also wrote, though we knew, Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, Rupanuga Jane Rajivan. That the highest and the heart and soul of the Rupanugas, of the followers of Rupa Goswami, is Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, who is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, non-different from Radha and Krishna combined. Radha Krishna Pranay Vikritir Halarini Shakti Rasmad. That they came together to form Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur appeared in this planet in Jagannath Puri. And when he appeared in this planet, then his mother, Srimati Bhagavati Devi, and his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was also present in our Guru Parampara, they saw signs of Upavita, which is Brahman thread. And they saw signs of Tilak when he was just born. So this is not an ordinary thing. We see, we have children. When children are born, they don't manifest signs of Brahman thread, of Tilak, because these are signs of great Vaishnavas, of high Vaishnavas. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually said after he was born that this boy, he will be a great devotee, and this great devotee has come and will preach worldwide. So they named him Bimal Prasad. Why did they name him Bimal Prasad? There's one in Jagannath Puri, in Jagannath Mandir, there is one Bimala Devi. Bimala Devi is in front of the mandir, and she, right after Jagannath eats the prasad, then the Mahaprasad goes first to her, and then it's distributed out. So, because some time ago, Lord Shiva got some Mahaprasad from Narad Muni, and Narad Muni got it from Lord Vishnu. So, but Lord Shiva ate it all, and Parvati Devi didn't get any. So Parvati Devi was so distressed, and she performed great austerities for this. So then Lord Vishnu appeared to her, and she said, "Dear Parvati, what is the matter? Why are you doing these austerities?" And she said, "Oh Lord Vishnu, oh Bhagavan, you have given everybody these remnants of your prasad, but what about me? Why have I not received it?" So then he said, "Okay, you will receive if you ask one boon, and then I will fulfill." So she asked that, "Lord Vishnu, I desire that whatever prasad you get, you give to me first, and then all my children will get the prasad, regardless of their caste, their creed, their color, it doesn't matter. They will get it freely." So if we go to Jagannath Puri, then we see that after prasad comes from Jagannath, then it goes to Bimala Devi, and then they give Mahaprasad to every single person there, regardless who you are. It doesn't matter. They'll give it because it's Mahaprasad. This Mahaprasad is considered non-different from Krishna himself. Therefore, we have to also think that we're not eating this prasad, we are serving the prasad. Because in order to serve Krishna, we have to serve him to our utmost capacity. If we have to serve him, then we need to keep this body nourished. In order to nourish, we have to have food. So this prasad is non-different from Krishna. So if we honor it wholeheartedly, we say the prasad prayers, offer respects to it, then we think in the mentality that we are only consuming this so that we may be able to continue our service to Sri Krishna. So Bimal Prasad, he was born, and they named him Bimal Prasad because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he prayed to Bimala Devi that, "Please Bimala Devi, give me somebody who can propagate this mission all over the world. I desire somebody who can propagate this mission, because otherwise, once I leave, there will be nobody else." So Bimala Devi answered his prayers, and Bimal Prasad came to this world. Now the astrologers predicted that he would spread the glories of Mahaprabhu, of Radha Krishna, all around the world, and it's because in Padma Puran, Vyasadeva writes, "Hiyutkale Purushottamat," that one personality will be born, and according to this sign that his chart, the astrologer saw that this is the exact same as in Padma Puran. So therefore, they came to this conclusion that he would propagate this mission all over the world. So as the baby grew, then the babies come to something called Anaprashan, means the first grain ceremony. So there's two stories. I'll speak both of them. One is that around the age of 6 months, Jagannath Rath Yatra was going on at that time. And during that time, Srimati Bhagavati Devi, his mother, brought Bimal Prasad outside to view the procession. Now, we know Jagannath's cart, we have Rath Yatra here. In Jagannath Puri, it's on a much grander scale. It's hundreds of thousands of people come. So here, we get thousands, maybe hundreds sometimes, but mostly thousands. Devotees come and they view Jagannath. There we have separate carts. So in the front, in the back is Jagannath. So Jagannath comes, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house is in just the alley where the cart is coming. So the cart is coming, and right when it reaches Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, it stops completely. Now the pandits, all the devotees, they're trying to push the cart, keep it going, because the procession has stopped. So they're trying to keep it going, but to no avail. So Srimati Bhagavati Devi was standing outside their door, and the Rath was just in front. So just then, when the cart stopped, then a little bit later, some flowers, a flower garland from Jagannath, it fell on the ground, and the pandas put it on Bimal Prasad, on the baby. And after that, immediately the cart started moving. So we can see that actually Jagannath wanted to bless his dear devotee that has now come into this world. He has sent his direct representative, Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastre, that Guru is a direct representative of Krishna. That he is the embodiment of all the Shastras and he's embodiment of Bhagavan. So he has sent his dear devotee to come, and he has given him blessings that may you continue. Now there's another story that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at the time of this first grain ceremony, he brought Bimal Prasad into the temple, into the Sri Mandir. And in this Mandir, Jagannath Prabhu, he was standing there, and they offered some sweet rice, some kheer. After they offered kheer, then they brought it, and then they fed the baby, this Mahaprasad. And then just then, a big garland from Jagannath, we see that he wears big garlands. A big garland fell right on the baby. And the baby was then again blessed by Jagannath Prabhu. So, then another time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur brought mangoes home to offer to their deities. So, Bimal Prasad was a bit hasty, and he ate one mango. He ate this mango, and we all know how tasty mangoes can be. After we offer to Krishna, we consume them, and they taste very nicely.
How old was he
At that time, I believe he was 4 years old? Three.
3 years old.
3 years old. So thank you, Prabhu. That's a very important detail. So he ate the mango, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur kindly explained that, dear Bimal Prasad, we shouldn't eat anything that is not offered to the Lord. Why? Because it is considered disrespectful. So we should take this example into our own lives. Whatever we eat, we should always think that, okay, Krishna needs to eat first before I can eat. Because otherwise, if Krishna doesn't eat, how can I enjoy? So, up until this point, Bimal Prasad was eating mangoes, then he ate the mango. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, my dear son, you please do not eat, it is considered disrespectful. After that, Bimal Prasad has said, I will never eat mangoes ever in my life, and he never did. So such we can see the determination of the devotee, that at the age of 3 years old, he decided, I will never eat mangoes again. And now, if we think that we can't eat mangoes again, we can't eat palatable foods again, then what will we do? We can't survive. Because this is our conditioning. The devotees of the Lord, they are not conditioned at all. They are completely liberated. So, in bhakti, we need to take this determination and we need to apply it to our best capacity. That if we are determined when we are doing bhakti, then Krishna, Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, they will all give all the mercy we'll need to propagate this mission. So as he grew, he started reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and by the age of 9, he memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita. So by the age of 9, he memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita, and he began growing and growing and growing. And later he went to Sanskrit school. In this Sanskrit school, he began to become more versed in Shastra, and continually he defeated different scholars in the Shastra. So, as he began doing Sanskrit school, he thought to himself, if I continue this path down education, and I continue to be as well versed in Sanskrit as possible, then my parents, they'll want me to become married because I'm so scholarly, and then I have to settle down, have children, and then I won't be able to preach this mission. So therefore he said, I'll drop out of this Sanskrit school, and I will continue my seva, reading Shastra and doing sevas in Yogapeeth. In Yogapeeth now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, after long research, they defeated the caste Goswamis, who have established a Yogapeeth, a false Yogapeeth in Prachin Navadvip. They call it Prachin Navadvip. So in Navadvip, they established one Prachin Mayapur. In this Navadvip, they established this Yogapeeth, but it was only for money making, just to get money for themselves, because they had this tainted philosophy. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, at that time Bimal Prasad, they sought out to find the real Yogapeeth. So after some time, they found the real Yogapeeth and established there. They established Jagannath Mishra Shachi Devi Nimai at the Neem tree. So doing services there of Kurma, of Gorgadadar, of Shachimata, Jagannath Mishra, he did all these. Then gradually, as he got older, by the age of 20, or in his 20s, that is when Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj began coming to Svananda Sukhada Kunj, which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's residence in Mayapur at that time. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, they would meet regularly, and they would discuss very, very high topics in, maybe sometimes midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Very late at night, they'd discuss these topics so that nobody else could hear. So one day, Bimal Prasad saw this devotee, this Babaji Maharaj. He was walking into Svananda Sukhada Kunj, the house. And Bimal Prasad proclaimed that if a devotee is not chanting and is not remembering Sri Krishna 24 hours of the day, I will never accept him as my guru. So he never accepted anybody up until that point. Then when he saw Babaji Maharaj, he saw that, and he realized that this devotee, he is always remembering Krishna, 24 hours. Chappadanda Ratri Dine Swapne Radha Govinda Bine. That in his mind, he's even remembering when he's sleeping for the 45 minutes that Babaji Maharaj slept. He was still remembering Radha Govinda in his dreams. So therefore, 24 hours of the day. So he kept remembering, and then he decided that I must approach him and I must ask him to be my guru. So he approached him not once, not twice, but 3 times he approached him to be his guru. To give, please Babaji Maharaj, please Guru, please Prabhu, please give me Diksha, please give me initiation. 3 times he was turned away. And after that, he decided to take one brat. This is the most impossible brat any person can take. It's called the Chandrayana Vrat. In this vrat, starting from Purnima, you take 1 handful of rice and you eat it for the whole day at one time. The second day, Pratipat, you eat 2 handfuls of rice, 3 handfuls, 4 handfuls, until you reach Amavasya, new moon. When you reach the new moon, then you have 15 handfuls of rice, and then back down the cycle. So 14, 13, 12, 11, until you reach Purnima again, where you just eat 1 handful. So in this brat, he did it for 3 whole months, which means 3 cycles of 1 to 15, 1 to 15. So he became very thin and shriveled and very weak at that point. So at that point, his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he saw that this boy was becoming very shriveled and thin and he was going to die. So he approached Babaji Maharaj and he said, Babaji Maharaj, please, you should initiate this boy. He will die soon, and then how will this mission go outwards? How can we preach this mission then? Because we are all bhajananandis. We take anand, we take bliss, we get happiness from doing bhajan, from doing our Nam Vrat, our Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting. Then there's Goshtanandis. Goshtanandis are those who preach. They do prachar. When they preach, then they get anand, they get happiness from that. So we are bhajananandis, but then this boy, he will be a Goshtanandi. So if this Goshtanandi goes away now, then how will this message of Mahaprabhu propagate in the future? Babaji Maharaj said, you are right, dear Guru, because if we see the lineage on our Guru Parampara, we have our Prabhupada, then Saraswati Prabhupada, then Babaji Maharaj, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this is the Bhagavat Parampara that actually Saraswati Prabhupada, he established. That this line is not just based on Diksha, not just based on initiation, but also based on Shiksha. That Shiksha is the most important. That if we are not getting knowledge from a qualified Vaishnav, tat vidi paripatnena pariprashnena sevaya, not asking questions, upadekshayanti te jnanas jnaninas tattva daishina, that these Vaishnavas who have realized, self-realized Vaishnavas, if we're not asking them correct questions or asking them questions at all, then how can we progress further? So this Bhagavat Parampara has been established, and Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is a Shiksha disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he said, okay, dear Prabhu, I will initiate him. So therefore, he initiated him and gave the name Shivarshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. We see in his pranam mantra, what we chanted earlier, Shivarshabhanavi Devi Daitai Kripapte Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha. That this Varshabhanavi Daita Das is full of mercy. Krishna Sambandha Vijnana, self-realized in Krishna Sambandha, in relation with Krishna. Daine Prabhave Namaha, that he propagates this all over. So, he accepted Babaji Maharaj as his guru, and he received Diksha in the name Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. And from then on, he decided to take a vow of chanting 1 billion names of Mahamantra, 1 billion holy names. This is equivalent to a lot. I'm not sure about the math. But he decided that he'd do 300,000 names a day from the age of, I believe, 31. From the age of 31, he took this vow. And he decided to chant 300,000 names a day, which is equivalent to 192 rounds. So daily we are doing minimum 16 rounds. And it could take us 1.5, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, depending on how attentive we are. And here we have this Uttam Vaishnav, Uttamadhikari Vaishnav, Mahabhagavat. He is doing 192 rounds a day from the age of 31 to age 44 to achieve his Namvrat. This is called Purashcharan. It is when you chant a certain amount of names until you reach your desired goal. This is usually Prema Bhakti, Krishna Prem. So he followed this daily 192 rounds, and he followed the Chaturmasya vows. So what is Chaturmasya like? It is not that we eat palatable foods every single day. We just eat some boiled rice, some boiled dal, and we eat it off the floor. We eat it off the floor with our hands in 1 meal a day and just finish for the whole day. And he lived in complete austerity, in a thatched hut, just a little mat on the ground, and nothing, right? So towards the end of his brat, in 1914, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entered Nitya Leela, left this planet. And then in 1915, Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left this planet. So Babaji Maharaj he said that, may my body be dragged through the streets of Navadvip. So some caste Goswamis, some Babajis, false Babajis, they were tying his body with string and were about to take him. At that point, Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das came to that scene, and like a lion he roared, "Stop right there." Immediately they stopped because of such strength he had. They called him Simhacharya. So, stop right there. None of you are qualified to touch this Mahabhagavat Guru. He is my Gurudev, and none of you are qualified. I am his only disciple. And they said, you are just a brahmachari. You are not even a Babaji. We are Babajis. We can fulfill his wishes. And he said, no, you cannot. So, he then said that, I am a Naishtaka brahmachari, which means I have never associated my life with a woman. Up until this point in my life, I have never associated with women. You all have associated with women. If you people desire to take my Gurudev out, to take my Prabhu out, then tell me, in the past year, who can come forward and tell me who has not had relations with a woman? Nobody came. In the past month, in the past week, In the past day, nobody stepped forward. Just the night before, they're having relations with women and they're trying to touch this Mahabhagavat Guru. So, Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das came and said, none of you are qualified. Then, with his own hands, he put his Guru in Samadhi. And after he put his Guru in Samadhi, he became very, very, very down. And he was thinking of forgetting about this propagating mission, becoming a Goshtanandi. He desired that, okay, at this point, my Prabhu is gone, all my masters are gone, I have nothing to do. I'll just sit in my room, and I'll just chant Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare for the rest of my life. Then at one point he received a vision. Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the Shad Goswamis, but in the Panch Tattva, they all said, Dear Daita Das, please do not give up hope and do not give up your idea of propagating this mission. Give up this idea of chanting in solitary and start to preach. So with tears in his eyes, he said, Dear masters, how can I preach? What can I do? I have no manpower, I have no resources, I have nothing. So how do you expect me to preach? They replied that you do not worry about manpower and resources, we will send everything. So long as you fixate yourself in one-pointed devotion, then everything is possible. So Ananya Bhakti, one-pointed devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Adhyanavartam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. That highest bhakti, one-pointed bhakti, is such that we are Anya Bhilasha, without any other desires except Krishna Bhakti. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Adhyanavartam, without knowledge that Krishna is this Brahman, he is Mayavad, he is impersonal. Anukulyena Krishnanu, what is favorable for bhakti, whatever is favorable for Krishna, you must do, and this is Uttama Bhakti. So they said, you must do this Uttama Bhakti, preach this one-pointed devotion to Sri Krishna, to Srimati Radhika and Sri Krishna. Then we will send everything. So on Gaur Purnima, he completed this vrat of this Purushcharan vrat of 1 billion names. And on that day, he took sannyas from a picture of Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and he opened the Sri Chaitanya Mat, the Akara Mat Raj, which I said earlier. So after he founded this, he said that this is Vrajapatan. What is Vrajapatan? It is non-different from Vrajabhumi. This Antardweep Mayapur, inside Mayapur, it is non-different from Sri Vrindavan Dham. This Chaitanya Mat, it is Govardhan and Radhakund together. So when we go to Vrajapatan, when we go to Chaitanya Mat, we see that Samadhi of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, opposite him is, or somewhere in the compound is Babaji Maharaj's Samadhi, because they moved his Samadhi. And then you have the Sri Chaitanya Mat, the actual temple itself, with Guru Gauranga and Gandharva Giridhari, his Ishtadev. So, no problems. So in this Brajapatan, then we see there's Govardhan there also, a small hill that's made in remembrance of Govardhan, and Radhakund and Shamkund are also present. So then after he founded the Sri Chaitanya Mat, then he started to devotees started to come to him. He started preaching very strongly. Like a lion, he started preaching. Simhacharya. He started preaching like a lion, and devotees, they all started coming to him as Mahaprabhu, as they all told him that devotees will start coming to you. So we see that he got all these disciples, so many disciples he had. So we'd think naturally, ourselves, we'd become puffed up. We'd think, I have so many disciples, I'm so powerful now, I have so many people with me. But Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas are not like this. Vaishnavas are not like this. They're the embodiment of humility. Mahaprabhu says, Trinarapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manena kirtanya sarahari. That one should be humble like a grass on a street, humble and tolerant like a tree, and devoid of all false ego and prestige. And then we can constantly chant the holy names. Devotees these days, they say, Kirtanya Sarahari, but what happened to Trinarapi? How can we keep chanting if we're not humble, if we're not tolerant, if we can calm down our ego? Because we all have an artha, let's be real. All of us have ego. We can't say that we don't. But in order to be in this sattva gun, we have to let our false ego down and put our real ego up. The real ego is devotion to Sri Krishna. We call this false ego. This false ego is when we get pride, prestige, we want name, fame, we want all these things. We want our name to be preached around the world, not Krishna's. This is ego. This is pride. This is prestige. So the Vaishnavas, they're not like this. They're constantly remembering Sri Krishna, and they're always humble. So Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, his disciples, they said that he is the embodiment of humility. That he dealt with us in a way that we could never think of. At the end of each class, if we read what he wrote that, please forgive me if I have committed any aparads, that you are all my Guru Varga. You are all my gurus, his own disciples that he gave Krishna mantra to. You are my gurus. He called them all Prabhu. We address each other as Prabhu, right? Prabhu, Mataji, as respect to each other, right? Gurus don't need to do that. They don't need to offer respect to us. They're beyond this plane. We offer respect to them because they're transcendental. But Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, he offered respect to them. Every time he saw one of his disciples, he offered dandavats. He offered obeisances right away. He said, you are my Guru Varga. You are all my gurus. So please forgive me. I am just your menial servant. This is the true embodiment of das, 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 anudas. Gopi Bhartuf Padakamalayar Das Das Anudasaha. That I am neither a Shudra, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Sannyasi, I'm not a Grihastha, I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm none of these things. Only by the mercy of Sri Krishna, I may be able to follow the lotus feet of the gopis. Gopi Bhartuf Padakamalayar Das Das Anudasaha. Servant of the servant of the servant. So therefore, he truly showed that he is the servant of the servant of the servant. Another instance, he showed his humility. During one parikrama, he was preaching so strongly, all his disciples, 108 Maranga players. Today we just had 1-2 Maranga players in Aarti, right? But 108 Maranga players during parikrama, and on a grand elephant, the deity of Mahaprabhu, standing like this, dancing, they went on parikrama. So he was preaching against all these caste Goswamis and all their tainted philosophies, and all enjoyers. There was one disciple of Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's sannyas guru, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He counted, there were 27 Apasampradayas. Apasampradaya is, we have a Sampradaya, which is the true lineage. Then we have Apasampradayas, which are those that are offshoots but are completely wrong. They're completely null and void, they're preaching wrong things. There are some of them, Sahajyas, Sakibekis, some of them who like to dress as gopis and think that I am Gopi Bhav, I am servant of Radhika, I am all these things. But true Gopi Bhav is those that are serving the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Service. This service is very important. We come to the temple, we come to Mandir, and we are coming, we might say, stand in Aarti, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Our mind might not be there, our mind might be there. But if we're not serving the temple, not serving the Vaishnavas in the temple, then no bhakti will come to us. We can never progress further. We always have to be in the service mood. There's even in Goloka Vrindavana, everybody there is serving one person. They're serving Sri Krishna. So we always must think that I must serve. How can I serve? Ask a devotee, how can I serve the temple? Find services in the temple. How can I serve? How can I serve? How can I serve? Never leave the service. We should always think that if devotee, let's say our service is to broom the floors, mop the floors, sweep the temple room, right? And one devotee, they didn't know, so they started sweeping. So then we should think, oh, how fortunate this devotee is. They get to sweep this temple. Every single thing of Krishna's, it is transcendental. Why? Because it is non-different from Balaram. Balaram takes everything upon himself to become Krishna's materials. So therefore, this temple itself, we have to offer respect to it. Because this is holding Radha Madhav, Nitai Gaur Sundar, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and the entire parampara. It's all holding them together. So we should serve this and keep it to pristine quality. It should look that when a new devotee comes, when a new person comes to the temple, they should think, oh, this temple is very nice, so clean, so maintained. It's so very nice, and everybody here is so loving. We should all cultivate this mood in our hearts that every single person we see, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, how are you? This is Sadachar, this is true Vaishnava etiquette, that we must engage ourselves into loving exchanges with the Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami writes, that the loving exchanges of the Vaishnavas are gift-giving, speaking together in confidence and things like that. So we must always speak together with loving hearts and relations with each other. That Hare Krishna Prabhu, how are you doing? Please accept my double pranams. All glories to Prabhupada. That how is your family, everything like that, you know? And how is your service going? How is your Nam Seva going? Your japa, everything. This way, then we can come together and we can truly connect on a deeper level and preach this mission. So Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, he was so humble that during this parikrama, these caste Goswamis they wanted to kill him. They wanted to inflict bodily harm unto him. So they came and they tried to inflict harm to him, but they all got shooed away by his disciples because there's so many people there. They all fled away. So the police, they came and they inquired him. They asked, Prabhupada knew who did this. But they asked, who did this? And Prabhupada said, no one did this. This just some instance happened. No problems. Not an issue here. So he said this and then later the disciple said, why, Prabhupada, why have you not put these people in jail? Why have you not put them away? They inflicted bodily harm unto you. Prabhupada said that actually these people they helped us so much. Why? Because the name Gaudiya Math was propagating, but now it was on every single newspaper in the entire Gauda Desh, in the entire Bengal region. That the Gaudiya Math name, a picture of Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur, Mahaprabhu, they're all there. Pictures of them on this newspaper. The name was being propagated further. So he said, actually, these people, they helped us so much. Why? Because this name is now on all the newspapers. This Gaudiya means the followers of Gauda Desh. We say Gauda Desh. Gauda means Gauda. And Gaudiya means Gauri as well. So who is Gauri? Shrimati Radhika. Because she's golden in complexion. So this is also, when we say ourselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it means that we are followers of Mahaprabhu, we are followers of Radha and Krishna. So he demonstrated the complete embodiment of one verse. Tatte nukampam susamikshama bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvag bhavurbhir vidanan namaste jiveti yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. That one who, while always expecting your mercy and receiving your mercy, tolerates the results of his previous misdeeds, his karmas, and constantly offers respect to you with his mind, body, and words, is eligible to receive the highest destination and the inheritance of your lotus feet. So now we might ask that it says previous misdeeds here. The Vaishnavas, they're divine associates of the Lord. So how can they have misdeeds in the past, karmas? So he is a pure devotee and associate of Krishna. Why would he suffer from these previous misdeeds? So actually he's not suffering. He is truly showing by the embodiment of all these, he's showing how everything is coming together. And the Guru and Vaishnava, they descend upon this world to teach us a lesson. Every single event in their life, they teach us a lesson. We see from when he was a small 3-year-old boy, determination of bhakti. When he became older, how we should gradually renounce everything in our lives. Become perfect grihastas, then renounce towards the later parts of our lives. We should become fully Krishna Bhakti Ras. We should be embodiment. We should think of all Krishna at all times. Take initiation, serve Krishna, serve the Vaishnavas. And then, so they all show how to properly engage in bhakti in every point in the life. Radha Madhav Ji ki jai, Nitaya Gaur Singh Jagannath Balli Subhadra Sri Chakra Ji ki jai. So they show everything in our lives. And they truly show also how we can become servants. We touched on this point a little bit earlier. Das, 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 anudas. Jivera Swarupa hoy Krishna Nityadas Krishna Tatastha Shakti Veda Veda Prakash. That Jivera Swarupa hoy, that this Swarupa, our eternal destination, our constitutional position, is to become Krishna Nityadas, always serving Krishna. So, we are always servants, and we are always serving the mandir, we are always serving the Vaishnavas. So one might say, okay, we are here in this world, but we should enjoy. We should enjoy in this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives one example, that if you melt ice, it becomes water, right? Now, the nature of ice is liquidity because of this water nature, because it melts into water in high temperatures. So, but because it's water, no matter what the circumstance is, one can, no matter what, it is water, correct? Everybody can agree, right? This is science. When it freezes, it becomes water. Or it becomes ice, and when it melts, it becomes water. Now one can say, no, ice is ice and water is water. They have no correlation together. False, right? They have no correlation together, one can say. But actually, if ice melts, it becomes water, and if water solidifies, it becomes ice. So, how can we tie this into this example that we are all servants? So, this ice is the constitutional position, right? But when we melt, sorry, actually, my bad. We are ice right now at this point. But as we progress in bhakti, as we keep going and we keep going, then we melt. This body melts away. This body melts away, and the swarup that we have, the position we have in Goloka Vrindavan, that position, that is our servant position. We are serving, always. So, we are all servants, but at this point in time, we are just covered with this gross body, thinking that I am this body and that I am the enjoyer. So, illusions is very, very particular, very important, that we must guard against these illusions. When a person forgets the relation between a person and God, then their perception of everything is material, because they're thinking, I am the enjoyer, I am Vishai. Vishai means enjoyer, one without a second. So, but when we see the connection and we connect with the true consciousness, this true Krishna consciousness, then it becomes a spiritual perception. So this world, it's not an illusion. Some people say, Jagat Satyam Brahma Mitya, right? That the world is an illusion type thing. But it's not an illusion. Actually, our perception of the world is an illusion due to seeing everything in this world being for us and not for Krishna. If we see that everything is for Krishna, then we will never see that this thing is for me, this thing is for you, this thing is for her, him. We'll never see this. We'll see everything is for Krishna. We'll actually see in animals, dogs, cats, cows, we'll see everything Krishna is present. So, our also nature, every being, we want to be loved and we want to love something. Right? So we want to love and we want to be loved. If we think we enjoy, then we will never truly love or be loved. So there's two things. There's ashray and there's vishai. Vishai is the enjoyer or the one without a second. It means without more than one. So Sri Krishna Chandra, he is vishai. That he is eternal and he is the supreme enjoyer. Srimati Radhika and everybody else, his karshnas. Karshnas means his devotees. His devotees are ashray. They're always serving and they're trying to increase Krishna's enjoyment. And in turn, Krishna increases our enjoyment of service. So we are serving and we are propagating this mission, and therefore we are serving him and we are loving him and he is loving us back. Therefore, this is true happiness. This is true happiness. When we serve Krishna, Krishna loves us back. Because in service is love. We want to serve love. We don't want to serve this body. We want to serve love. So how do we serve love? We serve Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna. This is serving love. So, coming to the end of his pastimes, Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he was directly sent by Srimati Radhika to this world. And he preached this Prem Nam Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu, this loving name of Sri Krishna worldwide. But we see, historically, he never left India. So how did he preach worldwide? One might ask, how did he preach worldwide? He preached worldwide because disciples of Guru are non-different. They represent Guru. So a direct representative of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada came to the West in 1966 and propagated this mission worldwide, circling the world 12 times. Who is this personality? Nityalila Pravishta Om Srila Prabhupada. He preached this mission. He's the direct representative of Saraswati Prabhupada who preached around the entire world. So, through this disciple, he preached, and through disciples, us as disciples as Shiksha disciples of Prabhupada, of our Diksha disciples of our own gurus, we have to also have this proper etiquette to serve and to pray and to preach. We have to make sure that we can never do anything that can taint their names. Because if we taint their names, then it comes all on us, and then we can't fully manifest the glories of Sri Guru. So in his pranam mantra also, coming to the end, Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida, Shri Gauda Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate. So Madhuryojala Premada, Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida, that he preached and he gave Rupanuga Bhakti. What is Rupanuga Bhakti? Rupanuga Bhakti is in the line of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Rupa Manjari. So what is this bhakti? It is service to Mahaprabhu, to Nityananda Prabhu, and to Radha Krishna and Braj. And we have to serve in a way that we are one-pointed. Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Ananya Bhakti, Ananya Shintayantu Mam in Bhagavad Gita. So we talked about this earlier, one-pointed bhakti. This is Rupanuga Bhakti, eternally serving the Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu, and Srimati Radhika. So, in 1937, on January 1st, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada entered the divine Leelas of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, and he entered into his Nitya Swarup of Nayanamani Manjari. These Manjaris, they're the servants of Srimati Radhika. They are constantly serving her in all capacities as possible. So he is one of these confidential servants of Radhika and of Rupa Manjari, who is Rupa Goswami. So we are saying Radhika, Radharani. Who is Radharani? Radharani is Krishna's Shakti, means the power behind Krishna. She is the Haladini Shakti. We hear Satchidananda Vigraha, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. That Sat is the truth, Samvit is the knowledge, and Haladini is the Ananda or the bliss potency. So this bliss potency is Radhika, and she is constantly serving Krishna, and Krishna is constantly serving her, and they're serving together. And us as Vaishnavas in this Gaudiya Vaishnava line, we must serve Mahaprabhu, who is Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, non-different from Radha and Krishna. We must serve Radha and Krishna, Guru and Gauranga. So, with this, I conclude this glorification of Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. If I said anything incorrect, you please all forgive me. I'm a little boy. I have no knowledge at all, but through grace of Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga, then I offer this Shraddhanjali to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanang bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Actually, historically, just to put some connotation about the purpose of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance day, his appearance in this world. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, during his time period, historically, before Bhaktivinoda Thakur established Vaishnava Siddhanta, before it was not very accepted in the society of Vaishnavas. In fact, they looked at the Vaishnavas as Sahajas. They didn't take them very seriously. In fact, it was after Narottam Das Thakur and those previous acharyas before. After they left, the respect for Vaishnava was not there. So that was when Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed to the Lord for help. And when Bhaktisiddhanta appeared, it's called the ray of Vishnu. And so that whole time frame when Bhaktisiddhanta came to help Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur establish the teachings, then the Gaudiya Vaishnava Madhvacharya line became more respected. And by the help of all of his disciples, reestablished the Gaudiya Vaishnava very strong, and people started accepting it more all over India and Bengal. So I just wanted to say that.
That's very nice. You take one question and you're done. Anybody else question?
I really enjoyed your class.
धन्यवाद Hare Krishna.
So, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually described more than that in your class today. And so, how did you get the title as Bhakti Siddhanta?
Very good question. So, at the time of being a Sanskrit scholar and studying in Sanskrit college, he received the name Siddhanta Saraswati because he was well versed in all the philosophical truths. Siddhanta, all Shastras, he was very knowledgeable. Siddhanta Saraswati. Then later on, as he progressed in his bhakti further and further, Bhaktivinoda Thakur added Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. But this name wasn't manifest yet. He didn't use this name. Then at the time of taking sannyas, he took a sannyas from a picture of his guru, Gaura Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. At that time he took sannyas, and then, because in his dream he received sannyas mantra, and he received the name Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or Goswami. So Gaura Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj gave him this name, but also this name was given beforehand. So therefore this is how this title came about, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Any other questions?
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Narayan Prabhu, for giving nice class. Now we'll have Prashadam downstairs. Thank you so much. Welcome, Dr. Gupta and Suri Mataji. Thank you so much. Family is getting completed.